Title of the show is Are You Thomas Frank in or out? And I know that we're 4 months into his reign. And for me, I don't really like having to answer to put this question out. But yesterday was very shocking in terms of our performance, but also social media was rife with it. So I have put some stuff out, a little poll. We've got some comments from people, but I do want to just have briefly go over Thomas's comments yesterday after the defeat against Arsenal 4-1 away from home. Bearing in mind that's our first away defeat of the season. He said, I will always take responsibility for my choice. My view is on that no matter what formation we played, we didn't have enough duels or intensity in the decisive moments, which makes it very difficult to win football games. And I think that's a really good quote from him that shows that yes, he will take responsibility for what he's putting out and the formations and setups, but ultimately it's down to those 11 men on the pitch, and they didn't perform in any way. And there's a number of players on there that aren't good enough to take us forward. So, in my opinion, I am Thomas Frank in, and nothing at the moment has made me think otherwise. I will judge him based purely when that front line is back, and I would like to see how he develops that team, those players going forward. Because at the moment, the people he's using in those attacking areas that we're all concerned about aren't good enough to be at the football club, and I think we all collectively have agreed that over the last sort of hour we've talking. So I'm just going to quickly go around the board, and then I'll just go over to Twitter and other social media that have kind enough sent in their answers. So Phil, nice and quickly, Thomas Frank in, out, or not sure?
I'm Thomas Frank in, but I do have reservations. And I think that he needs to just find some little improvements over the next 6 weeks before Christmas, and also just change his mentality slightly in terms of how to approach some games. But there's absolutely no reason to change the manager. I mean, it would be ridiculous, right, if we lose Thomas Frank now. You know, we've invested in him. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He's proven himself in the Premier League, right? Like, he's someone that is pragmatic. So I'm in, but I do think that, as I said, for the first time, probably this season, I think that he needs to, work ever more with the players to just try and eke out what he can, because the issue is if we don't get the results and if we don't increase the XG in games, then more and more fans are going to turn against them. And my fear is that it would get to to a tipping point where it gets ugly.
I think last night there was a beginning of a tipping point, and this is kind of why I've addressed this today. I was concerned by the amount of it. We're looking at social media. Joshua Wells says, I'm leaning more towards out than in. That being said, it's purely unfair to make a full decision on it, as he's only been in charge for 4 months. And so the projects do have to take a while, and it's just hard to not ignore performances like yesterday. Sai, you have commented a few times throughout this podcast that you are in. Just reiterate your feelings for us.
No, I'm definitely in, because he hasn't got the players, one, that he'd want, and two, the ones that are out injured would make a huge difference to us. And I think, you've got to give him this season, for me anyway. And even when Kulusevski and Solanke come back, they need some time to get up to speed, but I think they'll make a difference. What I want to see, and where the pressure comes from me, is on the 1st of January, I want to see left-footed players being announced that they've signed for this club, because that's what we need: a left back, left centre back, someone on the left wing. And if the Lewises can come out with all the claptrap, and turn down 2 bids for that became apparent last week about investment, then you've got to go out and put your money where your mouth is. One other thing for me, I'm fed up of hearing that we can't get this player or we can't get that player. It's never stopped any other teams, has it? United got Cunha, United got Mbuemo. Other teams have done it. And I hate to say it, if you pay the money and pay the wages, the players you want will come to you. And then if you up the quality of the players you get in, lo and behold, you up the quality of the team. But I'm definitely franking for this season and past the next transfer, summer transfer window. And I cannot believe, I can't believe that if we had Solanke, Kulusevski back in the team for the last 4 months of the season, we will win more games than we will either draw or lose, in my opinion. So I think judging Thomas Frank at the moment for me is just it's mad. So that's where I sit.
Absolutely agree. Spotlight on Spurs, a great podcast. So go and check him out. He commented, too early to be Frank out, in my opinion. There's been some worrying signs which needs to be rectified ASAP. Interesting to know who the fans would like to replace him if they are Frank out, though. I asked that question what felt like about 117 times last night. And guess how many actual relevant answers I got?
Zero,
None.
I'd imagine.
Zero. They
Yeah.
couldn't give me a name other than Xavi Hernandez, and Xavi Hernandez has been at Barcelona and in Saudi Arabia. I like Xavi Hernandez. He is not the answer for this football club at the moment. That was one person gave me that. Everybody else they just wanted to talk to me about what Pochettino did last season, and my comment back was, if he was as good as he is, and no doubt about he's going to be a legend at our club for what he done, he wouldn't have lost his job in 4 weeks. Callum, over to you. What is are you Thomas Frank in or Thomas Frank out?
I'm like Simon, Phil. I'm Frank in. Yes, there's bumps in the road. Yes, he needs to get an equilibrium and he needs to get a perfect median at the moment. But the club know that there's stuff to be done. They've got to back him and show their intent. Frank's got to be what he claims to be, this pragmatic manager who can adapt and change stuff and prove he's not a mid-level manager. But it's 4 months. I mean, Lego Head's had 8. He's had over God knows how many billions of pounds spent at Arsenal, and they've only just got a squad that's capable of doing something now. We've got a squad that's capable of probably confusing themselves in a plastic bag. That's how I see it at the moment. So realistically, I am Frank in. I am Tottenham in. I will back the Lewis family. I will stick with Spurs. Like you say, Xavi Hernandez won't solve anything. Postecoglou's lost 2 jobs within 6 months, so he is not the answer. Pochettino has got a 20 million release clause for the US men's national team until after the World Cup. Good luck on getting Spurs to pay that. I really think we're going to pay that on release clauses. We're not United, who spend 15 million on Amorim and consider sacking him within 6 months. So stick with Frank, back the project, see how we are after 2.5 years. Because realistically, we gave him, 4-year contract, something like that. It was never going to be solved in... Well, I forgot that a 4-year contract was a 4-month contract and all that. I didn't know how that worked under employment law.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that within 4 months, people are calling for it. Just there's a few others that I'd like to cover. Jason Fisk says, I'm 100% Frank in. We can't keep chopping and changing managers when things aren't going our way. He has come in with an objective to tighten up the defence, and after last year's shambles, give him a couple of windows, as Sai is suggesting, and to get his own players in as well, and then make the change, and it will change minds. And I echo that. Scott also comments Frank in. We've had bad performances this season, but once he has his own players and he ships in and ships out the remaining deadwood, then we can fully judge him then. No manager since Poch has been given time to build a squad of players, which is absolutely true. Last comment, not actually sure they are a Tottenham fan. So obviously this is negative. Out, pal. Not fair, but it's never the right choice. There is comments within the chat that I haven't worked out how to put on the screen yet, because this is the first episode. Are saying in 100%.
Keep blaming your tech, Gary. It's not like you had the whole day off to sort this out.
Can I just make one last point? If you took Frank's front line last season of Sharda, Visser, and Mbeumo and put them into Spurs this season, we wouldn't even be having this conversation because those players know the system, know what they're doing. They were scoring goals, and when people say to me, right, what could it be for us? Well, you're going to go with if you just took three up front of Kudus, Solanke, and Kulusevski. Just take those three. They would be better than what we're putting out on the pitch at the moment. It's just my opinion. So I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I think it's a great place to end the podcast today. Appreciate everybody checking in. There's couple hundred of you have checked out throughout across different social media. So I do appreciate that. We'll be back next Monday with some more Tottenham news, hopefully positive against Fulham, and also our under 18s. We'll cover that as well with Callum. So appreciate Phil, Si, Callum. Thank you for joining us. And for as ever, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
Come on, you.
Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams